Alright, well, we're through the airship. I might be tacking this next little bit onto, like, the airship battle bar, but, it could be its own thing too, we'll see. The thing about, like, the recording for these videos, I'm sort of, like, trying to, like, keep them within, like, 40 minutes to an hour, I guess we'll say. I know I'm actually going outside a few times, I feel like, a couple of, like, the episodes, but that's the plan, at least. By the way, I learned something, it's like, checking out the wiki about, like, stuff and, like, the tunes and such. Undertow is a very good vigor to, apparently get the Bon Voyage achievement, so I might try and check out how that basically works, and it might be, viable to use, instead of, like, just, running up and leaning people into the face, knock them off.
One more deck. Let me take care of this on my own.
No, I'm going with you.
Okay. Okay, there's Undertow. So, the thing about Undertow is that it's basically good for, like, knocking people around, so we'll see how it goes. You're low on ammo, find more. There's guys to fight, apparently, but we'll do that in a bit. Alright, so apparently, like, depending on, like, what, part of the ship you go in, there's actually 2 entrances. That's interesting. I'm just gonna creep around here a little bit. Volley guns. Carbine ammo.
Show yourself.
Why not? We'll use a volley gun since I got access to it. That's the thing about this game, by the way. It sort of, like, tries to make you switch out the weapons. To sort of, like, use, like, all the different weapons. But I don't really feel like yours.
Come out.
Watch out! Handyman!
He'll be up here in a moment.
Do it.
I haven't found anything.
Open it.
Okay,
Let's put that here.
I've got ammo.
Ow.
Elizabeth.
There. That's all I have right now.
Down he goes. Alright, we got some gear from this guy. We got the shock jacket. When struck, Fisher chances to shock nearby enemies, blah blah. More volley gun ammo and lockpicks over here. Now the only bad thing is I can't really knock people off of this, ship when they're inside the ship like this, so... Ooh, machine gun.
I found ammo. Catch, Booker.
That'll do!
That'll help. Nice, a Kirkle. This is a good time to do this. Excellent, so we killed that. Wish I'd seen that sooner so, we could get more kills of it, but whatever. I really shouldn't be worrying too much about the achievements. I've basically shown off quite a bit of them at this point.
We can take that skyline to the Prophet's cabin.
Minuteman Armory. I like how they said, Minuteman Armory, because that's basically very, Americanish. It basically, goes back to, the times of colonial period where you have, the Minutemen who, fought against the British Redcoats.
Catch.
Thank you. At this point, I basically have upgraded machine gun and the carbine. Just going to grab some salt on the way out. You know what? Just to save my machine gun ammo, let's just, use this instead.
You've come to wipe your slate clean, false shepherd. But time will walk backwards before you find redemption. Some sins can't be forgiven.
I bet that's where we're going to go, but, Let's just look around for a little bit here. So yeah, basically that's the entire route over here. You got basically Vox flagships all over the place, I think. I don't think we'll be finding anyone out here, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Alright, Comstock.
This is my tower. What's this? A siphon.
I saw this there. I could hear you singing from above. And the machine came to life in response.
And then in my mother's grave, there was a smaller one. They were draining me. Maybe that's why I can't.
Can't what?
When I was little, I used to be able not just to open tears, but I could create new ones. To anywhere I wanted to go. But in the tower...
Yes, I'll be right with you.
Stand back. I'm ending this.
Booker, no. This is between me and him.
You are walking into a trap.
I need to do this.
Come here, child. Oh, come on, I don't bite. My, oh my, how you have grown.
Tell me, what am I?
Look at you, child. You're a
Hey,
mess.
let go of her.
Elizabeth, everything I've done to keep you safe.
Safe from what?
The seed of the prophet shall sit the throne and drown in flame the mountains of man. But the archangel revealed something else. Beware, prophet. Beware the false shepherd, Booker DeWitt, for he shall be as a wall between her and destiny.
Why?
DeWitt, I'm a fool. I've sent mighty armies to stop you. I've rained fire on you from above. I did all of that to keep you from her, when all I needed was to tell her the truth. Ask him, child. Ask him what happened to your finger. Ask DeWitt.
Let go of me.
Ask him. Ask the false shepherd. Tell her. Tell her, false shepherd. Tell her the truth.
My hand.
Tell her.
Please
Tell her
let
about
go.
her finger.
Alright, let's intervene.
She's your daughter, you son of a bitch! And you abandoned her! Was it worth it? Huh? Did you get what you wanted?
Booker.
Tell me!
Booker.
Tell me!
It is finished.
Nothing is finished!
Booker.
You locked her up for her whole life!
Booker.
You cut off her finger, and you put it on me!
Booker, stop it! You killed him. What did he mean? Huh? You tell me, what did he mean about my finger?
I don't know. I just assumed you were born with it. I don't know.
Your nose. It's bleeding.
What? Elizabeth, I swear to you, I have no idea what he was talking about.
You too. You just can't remember it.
No. I'll prove it to you. We'll destroy the siphon. The answer's behind one of your doors. You just have to open it.
Destroy the siphon? It's the entire tower, Booker. How are we gonna do that?
I don't know. But I'll think of something on the way.
So I know at this point we're starting to get like to the main part of the story here. The finger, you know, he's basically going on about, it does actually have like a big purpose in this game. As stupid as that might sound. Yes, Fitzroy's dead. The Prophet is dead. Or Comstock, I guess we'll call him. There's some more machine gun ammo. There's a hand cannon.
When a soul is born again, what happens to the one left behind in the baptismal water? Is he simply gone? Or does he exist in some other world, alive, with sin intact?
So yeah, it's just another world with sin intact.
Think you can crack this one open?
Alright, let's get to it. I think we're going to get to the final battle at this point.
Cage. Cage, what is that?
Now what?
What is she trying to tell us? Cage. Cage, I'm missing something.
They said they knew what was best for us.
Booker?
They said they knew what was coming next.
Booker!
Didn't see this coming, old man.
Okay, we gotta get ready.
This coming,
Think they mean to board us.
You ain't gonna place your daughter on
The
the
bird.
throne. We're gonna place her in a grave.
We have
gonna stop it?
C-A-G-E. It's not a word, Booker. It's a song. Shh, it's okay. I'm here. Will you help me? I need you to protect me. Will you do it? Will you do this for me? Just this one last thing. Please. Go. Go, go, go! Booker, he'll help us. We can use him against the Boss fleet.
Alright, so here we go.
Now.
On it!
You can now command Songbird to attack enemy threats. Aim at any highlight target and press F to start the attack. Larger targets will cause a longer cooldown.
Booker, tell Songbird where to go.
Alright, so...
Booker, over there! The box!
Hit that gun! We need this thing to make it to Monument Island.
At least the hand cannon's pretty powerful.
Booker, gunships!
Get ready!
Booker, the barge!
Alright, let's see if we get the undertow going here.
Booker, calling in! I've got ammo!
Hopefully I got a few kills with that.
Watch out for the barge! Here you go!
Thanks. Attack that gunship.
There we go, got rid of that.
There's more of them!
There we go. Hope that's a kill.
Tell me where to send him. Ammo, take it!
Thank you. I was taking a few hits.
You thought the streets were paved with gold, but they are paved with blood, sweat, and tears. Our blood, sweat, and tears.
Ooh, RPGs.
Our tears become gold, and your tears will become blood.
Zeppelin!
The Zeppelin, now.
There it goes. Bye-bye. Ooh.
Is it to win? Still looking. I've got ammo.
Can we kill some fleet before me, please? Thank you.
Where should I send him?
Let's get rid of this.
Nice! Bring down that gunship!
I don't like the looks of this.
Well, let's get up here, I guess.
Songbird's ready, Booker.
Oh, one's gone off.
I need the bird!
I killed them.
Motorized Patriot! I can call Songbird and Booker.
Send him there.
There we go, get rid of them.
Booker, Songbird's ready. Take it!
Thanks!
That's all I've got. Can't find anything. Got ammo!
Thank you. More RPG ammo.
Attack the Zeppelin!
Get rid of that.
Patriot! Rockets!
Yay, got my achievement, so don't have to worry about that anymore. We'll use this weapon for a little bit.
Rocket, Booker! Patch yourself up! Take this!
Great!
Thank you.
He's ready!
Off you go.
Salt, take him! Booker, catch!
Thank you.
Great! Lead him this way!
That was fun.
Patriot!
You know, I probably destroyed the Zeppelins more or less, so I shouldn't be going after them. The little guys here, but whatever.
Songbird's ready.
Off we go.
Over here!
He's ready, Booker. You need songs. Catch.
Thank you.
Got it. He's still there? Take out that gunship!
Get rid of that barge.
Over there.
Open it!
There.
Ooh, more salts right there.
Ammo.
Don't think that counts, but whatever.
Catch, Booker.
Appreciate it. Open.
Done.
Clear the deck.
There's a Patriot.
That one.
There you go.
There we go. Need those.
I can call Songbird in, Booker.
Get the Zeppelin.
Get that Zeppelin out of the way. See, that's like the boss fight for this game, shall we say.
Booker, catch.
That'll do.
Ammo. Catch. Here you go.
Thanks.
Alright, there we go.
That didn't work out so bad.
I think that's actually the end of this, like, you know, like the main like fights at this point, so we're basically done all the fighting parts of this game. Pretty sure that's what, you know, happens now. And yeah, the crank gun was, you know, not as effective as I thought it might be against this stuff, but whatever. There we go. Well, let's get going.
Booker, come here.
What? What is it?
Look, you can use the Songbird to bring the whole damn thing down. Destroy the siphon.
And that's what you want.
It's the only way we'll find the truth. About my finger, Comstock, everything.
Alright, so...
Tear it down. Tear it all down. Whistler! Elizabeth! The bird, Elizabeth! I lost control. He's coming!
No, he isn't.
Where is he? Where is he?
It's okay. It's all right. I'm here. Just let go. There you go. There you go.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry.
All right, well.
What is this place? Elizabeth?
It's a doorway. One of many. This way.
What do you mean it's a doorway? Where are you going?
Oh, come on. Yes, it's this way.
What Comstock said about your finger. Is there an answer here? Do you...
Down here. Over here, Booker. This is where we have to go.
Why? What is going on? Elizabeth, what do you mean this is a doorway?
I'll have to show you.
All right, so I guess you can like sort of guess where we are, but we're not going to be here long, so let's just get out of here, I guess.
Probably gonna regret this.
Basically, this is like sort of like a tie-in into like the original Bioshock before like the city fell.
City at the bottom of the ocean. Ridiculous.
And we're back at the lighthouse.
Thousands of doors. Opening all at once. God, they're beautiful.
The stars?
Come on. Come on, it's this way. Come on.
So we're back at the lighthouse.
Are you going to open it?
It's no good. Damn it. I thought once we were here, I could fully control it. I thought...
What is that?
It's a key.
Where did it come from?
It's always been there. I just couldn't see it.
Alright, now I want to note, by the way, you know, just look at this lovely sea here, just before we continue on.
See? Not stars. They're doors.
Doors to...
To everywhere. All that's left is the choosing.
So yeah, basically there's an infinite amount of doors. Because it is like sort of supposed to represent like the infinite amount of like, you know, representative realities, I guess we'll say.
What are all these lighthouses? Why are we... Who are...
There are a million worlds. All different and all similar. Constants and variables.
What?
There's always a lighthouse. There's always a man. There's always a city.
How do you know this?
I can see them through the doors. You, me, Columbia, Songbird. And sometimes, something's different. Yet the same.
Constants and variables.
Yes.
So, I'll note basically the idea here is like, you know, this game sort of explores multiple reality theory, I guess we'll say, infinite realities and stuff like that. where like you basically make a choice in one reality and like you make a different choice in every reality, and then like makes multiple realities. These are basically all lighthouses that represent like different like realities that are like all similar, but they all have like one different variable to them basically. And tying to Bioshock, by the way, is that in one game like you basically have a city under the water, and then you have it over the water and over the sky and all this stuff.
Exactly. We swim in different oceans but land on the same shore. It always starts with a lighthouse.
I don't understand.
We don't need to. It'll happen all the same.
Why?
Because it does. Because it has. Because it will.
There's so many choices.
They all lead us to the same place. Where it started.
No one tells me where to go.
Booker. We've already been.
Well, let's get going. Toward the end of this game. Now, this is basically the part of the game where it like sort of like falls apart, the story, because you actually start to think a little bit past like this aspect here, and it's like, so how does this make any sense? Type of thing.
Right after Wounded Knee. I was looking for...
Come on now, time's a-wasting.
Why were you here?
Are you ready to have your past erased? Are you ready to have your sins cleansed? Are you ready to be born again? Take my hand.
No, I don't want to.
You already did, didn't you?
So in one reality, you might take that hand, and in another reality, you might not.
Are you ready to be born again?
I am.
Do you hate your sins?
I do.
Do you hate your wickedness?
Yes.
Do you want to clean the slate, leave behind all you were before, and be born again in the blood of the Lamb? Jesus! Wash this man clean.
Wait.
Father, make him
Stop
born
it.
again. Lord,
stop it.
what are you doing to it?
Get off me! Get off!
Son!
You didn't go through with it.
You think a dunk in the river's gonna change the things I've done? Let's get out of here. Hey, these doors of yours, they're all tears, right? Well, open one up. Open one up to Paris. I want to be shut of all this.
Not until we find Comstock.
Comstock's dead!
No. He was here. This way.
So, as Booker DeWitt, the past is that it basically refused that baptism and went along. And we're just going to continue on the story here.
And what of my debts?
Bring us the girl, and wipe away the debt.
This is the man who hired me to find you.
Really?
Yes. The girl for the debt.
Lutece.
What is this? It was no baby. I remember. No, there was no baby, and if there was, I sure as hell wouldn't give it over to this guy.
Booker, you don't leave this room until you do.
DeWitt, time is running short. Bring us the girl, and wipe away the debt.
Go ahead.
No.
You can wait as long as you want. Eventually, you'll give him what he wants.
How do you know all this?
I can see all the doors, and what's behind all the doors. And behind one of them, I see him.
Comstock.
So yeah, basically the gist of this game is that it starts out with you giving away this baby to Lutece here, the one of your universe, I guess.
What choice do I have?
The debt's paid. Mr. Comstock washes you of all your sins.
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt.
There was no baby. The deal was I go to Columbia to get you.
Booker, you're bleeding.
Oh. I remember. What I remember.
Now we've upset him.
I don't expect this next bit will do much for his mood.
Come on.
So yes, Lutess is here, rolling it back here to start, yet again.
What are we doing here? Comstock's dead. We can just go on with our lives. You don't need
Dead? You mean like Chen Lin? Like Lady Comstock? No. He is alive in a million worlds. It's not over because the Prophet is dead. It will only be over when he never even lived in the first place.
So that's sort of a hint to the conclusion of this game, by the way. It will never end until the Prophet is dead from all existences, basically. So this sort of takes me back to there's basically this movie that DC did where they basically had, like, you know, the Justice League confronting, like, you know, an alternate reality where, like, you know, there's like an evil Justice League that basically took over the world. And in it, there's basically, like, you know, a scene where, like, Batman basically goes to fight Owlman, who's basically the bad guy of, like, the, you know, the bad Justice League. And they explore, like, the concept of, like, infinite reality and how, like, you know, there's one starting point for everything. And if you go to that starting point and wipe it out, you will effectively wipe out everything. You will effectively wipe out all realities. DeWitt, bring us the girl and wipe away the death. This is your last chance.
Hey, the deal's off, you hear me? The deal is off! Give her back! Give her back!
Fine, are you mad?
No, you will not get caught in between. Come.
It is uncomfortable enough as it is.
It's going to be more uncomfortable if you don't come now.
If I get caught, it's going to be a very long time before we see each other.
You will not get caught, I promise.
You can't promise me that.
We're going to lose our window.
I'll wait, thank you.
So yeah, here's like the test where, like, you know, her brother comes in. So that's the test of, like, you know, Elizabeth's world, and the test of your world, and Comstock.
Give her back, you son of a bitch!
It's ready. Go.
No! No!
Shut down the machine!
No!
Shut it
Anna!
down! Shut down
Anna!
the machine! Now do it!
Give me back my daughter! No!
Yoink! And there's the finger.
Anna? No. No. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Anna, I'm sorry.
So I'll note that basically how this basically works. You saw a point where basically Lutess, like the brother, basically comes into the world like the sister. And you also basically saw something there with, like, you know, Anna there. Anna's essentially the daughter of DeWitt. And Comstock takes her, and of course that is Elizabeth of that world. So she was originally in your world, and then she's brought over to his world. You know, infinite realities, because, you know, that's basically how it works. And of course, you know...
She's gone, Booker. Anna's gone. You shared this room with your regret for almost 20 years. Until one day, a man came to you and offered you a chance at redemption. A chance for us to be together.
So yeah, basically he took her away.
I told you it was right.
We already know it works. The question is, will he?
Anna. So sorry, Anna.
You suppose he branded himself as some sort of penance?
I should have.
Don't see the point. What's done is done. What's done will be done. I suppose the brand is his hair shirt, as he is ours.
Wipe away the debt. Bring us the girl. Wipe away the debt.
See,
Bring us the
he's
girl.
starting to put his story together.
Wipe away the
You're quite fond of this theory of yours.
He's manufacturing new memories from his old ones.
us.
Well, the brain adapts.
I should know.
Bring us
I
a
lived
girl.
it.
Booker, wake up. Booker, wake up. This is where it started.
I sold you. I sold you.
To your credit, you did try to weasel out of the deal.
This is all Comstock's fault. What if I went back? Killed him before he did any of this?
Things get set in motion.
How would one know how far back to go?
That's the only way to do it. Go back to when he was born, and I'll smother this son of a bitch in his crib.
So, yeah, I'll note basically, like, when he came into, like, this new reality, your memory sort of, like, got warped. But essentially, like, now you're just gonna go and kill a man from a starting point. But where did the man start?
Booker, are you sure this is what you want?
I have to. It's the only way to undo what I've done to you.
And we're back here.
DeWitt, are you ready to be
is this?
born again?
Why are we back here?
This isn't the same place, Booker.
Of course it is. I remember.
Are
Wait,
you ready to leave behind all
You're
that
not-
has gone before? Wipe the slate clean.
who are you?
You chose to walk away, but in other oceans, you didn't. You took the baptism. You were born again as a different man.
Comstock.
It all has to end. To have never started, not just in this world, but in all of ours.
Smother him in the crib.
Smother, 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 smother. Before the choice is made, before you are reborn.
Name shall you take, my son?
He's Zachary Comstock. He's Booker DeWitt.
I'm both.
Alright, so, credits. And yeah, I'll note that's basically the ending for this game. There is something that comes after the credits, but, for the most part, you basically saw how it sort of ends. Basically, Elizabeth kills you because you are Comstock. And Booker DeWitt, but you're also Comstock. So, the end is basically killing you before you take the baptism or choose to walk away. So, that basically kills the point where, all of, this begins, so to speak, this game. And that's basically, here's the problem. When you basically get to this point, if you kill yourself, I guess we'll say, then nothing basically occurs. So, something about this game that basically explores, Infinite Fury and stuff like that, but it's like one of these games that, you try and look at the story a little bit past it, why didn't you just kill it, go back further and, wound you before, say, you go to Wounded Knee, so, you don't even go to, the baptism in the first place afterwards? Thing is, everything that happened to Booker DeWitt, basically it was caused by, his battle of Wounded Knee. He, did all his sins, and then, after I wanted his baptism, or he didn't, right? And, basically, the thought here is, if you never went there in the first place to Wounded Knee, why would you even have to go to the baptism afterwards after that? And it's those sort of thoughts that start playing a role in this game. A lot of players, a lot of people and commenters basically, they don't think much of this ending because the story basically falls apart. And usually it does with infinite reality stories, type of things. It's not very clear as to what happens for the most part. But anyways, that's just the story. You can take it or leave it as is. The thing about this game is, it's not really about the story. The story is basically, just something else to sort of drive the story along. and like, you know, it ends, so what? It wasn't done as well as Bioshock, for example, where like, you know, there's basically, you know, a fairly simple story, but, you know, at the same time, it's like, you know, a story that like sort of like, you know, moved along the game and all that. The thing about Bioshock has always been about exploring like the realities in them, and like the concepts that are being like, you know, told. You know, in Bioshock 1, you basically explore like, you know, the idea of like, you know, everyone serving their self-interest, and then, you know, if you basically keep doing it long enough, eventually you undercut your, you know, your safety nets, and then, you know, well, your self-interest is basically, you know, going to kill you, so to speak, and that's what happens in Bioshock 1. Bioshock 2 is basically about, like, cults and communes, and, like, you know, if you basically let them take control, then a cult of personality is going to happen, aka, say, like, Trump, and they'll take over, and then, like, you know, that's just a thing. The thing about Bioshock Infinite, though, is that this game really didn't really have, like, any of that, basically. It didn't have anything that's sort of, like, you know, basically set in its, like, own universe, to basically, like, you know, tell you, say, about, like, why, like, you know, the black people are, like, you know, being oppressed, and, like, the poor people are being oppressed, and, like, you know, why the rich people do it, why the poor people do it. The thing about Bioshock Infinite is that it's not a very memorable game, because it doesn't have anything memorable about it. Basically, like, you know, I forgot completely basically about everything that happened after, like, you know, Fitzroy is basically, like, you know, holding, you know, a child to, like, you know, be killed, to, like, the point where, like, Comstock basically, like, you know, is basically killed. Because it's, like, it's not really important. It's, like, it's just a blur. At least in Bioshock 1, I can, like, tell you, like, you know, there's this point where, like, you're in, like, a theater and, like, you know, malls and stuff like that. Basically with, like, this, like, you know, madman actor basically so directing you, like, you know, to kill off his, like, you know, minions. And I can tell you, like, in Bioshock 2, in Bioshock 2, basically, you're gonna have, like, you know, a fight with, like, big sisters, and, like, you know, they're gonna be, like, you know, a bunch of these, like, you know, people along the way who basically can, like, kill or not kill because they're, like, a part of a story. But this game doesn't have anything memorable about it, so... The thing about, you know, this game, you know, I wanted to show it to you guys because this is actually a good indication where, like, you know, a game can sort of fall apart, and this game really did fall apart, you know, for a series. There is a Bioshock Infinite 2 apparently on the way. Hopefully it'll be a lot better than this, but it wasn't really that great, I don't think. There's also a lot of other stuff, by the way, we can complain about as well. I'll note that it's basically reviewing some of our viewers, and basically some comments they basically have is, like, you know, the handyman, which is basically a replacement for, like, the Big Daddy. It didn't really feel like that very much important of a fight because, you know, in Bioshock 1, Big Daddies are, like, you know, something you commit to or not, and they're very challenging. In Bioshock, like, Infinite here, handymans are basically something that comes out, you have to fight them, and then go on your way. There's also some other aspects as well, like, you know, basically in Bioshock Infinite, it's just like, you know, you go in, you kill a bunch of wave of enemies, you go on to the next area. It's a very casual experience. At least in Bioshock, you know, 1, you could technically, like sort of sneak around and, like, avoid fights if you want to. Yeah, like, you could actually, I never actually did that, but you could do that if you want to. And, well, there's not a whole lot more basically to say, like, you know, in, like, comparison between the gameplay. Other than, like, you know, we basically have 2 weapons in Bioshock Infinite, and, like, the weapons don't really feel like yours and stuff like that, but whatever. And yes, just to watch the credits roll. There's so many credits to go through. Oh yeah, by the way, I believe this is a game that was, like, you know, made to be, like, you know, for multiple markets too, so there's that as well about this game. You know, I do hope that for Bioshock 2, Infinite 2, I guess we'll say, I do hope that they sort of, like, you know, get back to sort of exploring elements that, like, you know, make these games great. And from the team, blah blah. All the people on the team who worked on this, I guess. What they're basically saying. You know, I think I'll say probably the worst thing about this game. It feels like I sort of wasted my time. I mean, the thing about this game is, like, is this, like, sort of something to distract you? You're not really learning anything from it. And, you know, it's just something to waste time with. That's what this game sort of feels like. Part of the reason I think that's part of the way it is because they made it like for more of a casual audience. Basically, like, you know, the gameplay was basically sort of made so that, you know, it would appeal to, like, you know, the masses, so to speak, rather than be, like, you know, distinct or anything. Like, the thing about Bioshock 1 and 2, I'll note that the gameplay, like, gunplay in those games weren't that great, but at least they felt, like, you know, distinct and all that stuff. This one felt more like, you know, a modern-day shooter in many ways, which is okay-ish, but, you know, nothing really special about it. It just doesn't really stand apart from the other games. Like the other games, they feel out of date and not really, like, you know, good with the gunplay, but this one didn't feel, like, you know, unique or anything, which is unfortunate. Irrational Special Thanks. I have no idea where we are, basically, at this point, but whatever. I'll note, by the way, there is a couple DLCs for this game, apparently, so I guess I'll check out those, and maybe we'll find something, you know, lovely about those games that'll, like, sort of redeem this a little bit. I'm not sure if the achievements will basically carry over to this game or not, but whatever. I'm probably going to go back to playing with, like, you know, my other recording gear, by the way, because Fraps is great and all, but it's going to leave us such a huge file to compress. I only did it with, like, the last few, like, you know, things here. I didn't realize how far into, like, the game we are as well, but whatever. You know, that's something up with this game. I didn't realize how long it was. I thought it was a lot shorter than this. Because I basically forgot so much content was here, which is, you know, kind of to be expected, but whatever. Such lovely music, isn't it? I guess. Now, I probably should know at this point, by the way, that you really do want to watch this credits to the end because, you know, I guess they have, like, a sort of, like, you know, wrap-up to, like, this, like, game. Actually, in many ways, I feel like the story should have ended with, like, you know, you being drowned in, like, the river, so to speak, or the lake or whatever, the pond. But here's the thing. As you, like, go on with this game, like, as we are right now, you do, like, sort of, like, get, like, you know, sort of, like, a happy ending type of moment. So it's like, you know, it doesn't, like, you don't feel, like, bad or anything about, like, you know, the fact that you actually just kill yourself and that's it. You know, in many ways, something about this game, unlike the other Bioshocks, this is, like, a lot more, like, you know, fixed and, like, you know, it's, like, you know, morale, like, choices and stuff like that. Basically, you can make morale choices and they affect your, like, overall gameplay from that point on. Unlike, you know, the Bioshock 1 or 2, where basically, like, they affect your endings. And, like, you know, the ending, like, sequences and stuff like that. Here, like, you know, the ending's basically fixed to always be the same thing, but, you know, whatever. Oh, are we at the end? No, of course not.
It's that one line I don't. I'll figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. Went back home, Lord. My home was lonesome. Went back home.
My home was lonesome. All my brothers, sisters cried. See, but then now it's too short. Now it's one too short. Because then it goes, what a home. So here, we'll play it one more time. Went back home, Lord. My home was lonesome. All my brothers, sisters cried. What a home so sad and lonely. And then it's missing the next line. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the second, that's the third, that's the fourth. But then, I don't think that's supposed to say lonely.
Probably lonely. We're missing one.
We'll get the actual.
Nothing else.
Can I run it through this lyrics? There are loved ones in the glory whose dear forms you often miss. When you close your earthly story, will you join them in their bliss? Will the circle be unbroken by and by, or by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. In the joyous days of childhood, oft they told of one's life.
That's it. Do you think that this one should be like slowed down a little bit since it's the last verse?
You can do that.
Otherwise,
cool,
there's like, well, otherwise there's just like an abrupt ending, right?
All right. Well, what I want to do, you guys are really, really, really good. What I want to do is
make it worse.
I want to take the tempo down a little bit if we can, and sort of start by finding like Booker. If you could just be sort of like picking away at the beginning first, and then sort of start to play the song, and maybe then you guys kind of find the tempo together a little bit. I wanted to feel you guys are so excellent and professional.
Yeah, no, it won't be like that.
I want to make it sound like it's not like, you know,
Sure.
Sheryl Crow and
Right.
Eric Clapton in a session. So
He gets Eric Clapton, I get Sheryl Crow.
Who do you want, Job?
Right. Yeah. Joplin.
Ex-Tina?
Britney Spears and Seal.
Alright, well, that was the end. Don't remember that being in there, but whatever. Alright, so we're into the happy ending time.
Anna?
Is that you?
And there we go, Bioshock Infinite. That was the whole game. If I want to, I could probably go back to get some more achievements and stuff, but maybe I can do that in the DLC stuff. There's still, like, you know, that stuff to go through for me, I guess. I didn't even get half the achievements, by the way, apparently, so I must have missed some of the tapes, I guess, and sightseeing stuff, but, well, you know, that's fine, whatever. I'm not going to complain about finding stuff. It's not really something I'm like aiming to basically do, like the be completionist in these games, but whatever. Well, basically, I'm basically coming back to the download content because, you know, there is some download content for stuff. But for now, hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.